Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Um, Welcome to snowy Alberta, Canada. My name is Dr. Silverman, and obviously I already told you, I live in Alberta, Canada. We are in my home, in my office. That's what I do for a living. I am a surgical pathologist, Canadian board certified, double trained. So I am obviously you can hear my accent. So I am a former physician, pediatric surgeon from Soviet Union. I immigrated to Canada 30 years ago, lost all my credentials, and then went back to medical school, graduated. I'm a proud alumni from University of Alberta Medical School, and I chose to learn, to study, to complete a fellowship in surgical pathology. So if you don't know what it is, you are absolutely lucky. I am the doctor you do not want to know because I diagnose cancers. I am a laboratory oncologist and I specialize in breast cancer. However, I'm actually doing LifeVantage is part of my destiny. My personal story started in 2004 with my mom being diagnosed with a deadly cancer, and she passed away, putting me on a journey of health, discovering health via different modalities, teaching health, and I teach proactive. As I say, I sell proactive. I want you to get me out of my day job because if we are healthy, you ain't going to require a surgical pathologist. You ain't not going to require a breast laboratory oncologist. You know, I keep teaching people that our life, so our choices directly apply to our well-being. So I started doing LifeVantage in 2013, and since 2013, I am on a journey of constant searching, literature search, research searching, basically of what we have. And I do LifeVantage because of many, many reasons. But one of the reasons is I honestly believe that what I told you, that our well-being directly correlates with our choices. And for me to take care of my body, especially adding the cellular upregulators, is absolutely essential. That choice is absolutely essential for my well-being. So let me start sharing the screen and basically tell you why am I so excited. Well, I am excited with LifeVantage because what we cover is critically important for our health. And the first thing starts with our famous NRF2 pretender. Why? Because, so here, guys, here's the deal. Okay, I can eat right. I can, and I do. I can exercise daily, and I thrive to this. I can drink healthy, clean water, and I do this. What I entirely cannot control is the level of stress. And what happens with the stress? Stress creates cellular garbage. Not only stress creates cellular garbage, basically we stop taking care of ourselves, or we just don't take care of ourselves like we take care of our car, like we take care of our home. And when we don't take care of ourselves, and we are, as a human body, we are the lump of cells. So what happens? So cell, the analogy, is a bucket. So you do not clean that a cell So what happens? The bucket is overflown with that cellular damage, cellular garbage, which is basically called oxidative stress. And that is going to lead to chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is going to lead to over 200 chronic diseases. However, I think it's generally an understatement. Now, as you see, this is its inability of easiness. And that a disbalance of everything from the outside, whether we're bringing that oxidative, whether there's different kinds of stress, and then we're not going to repel it from the outside. And the same thing, we accumulate cellular stress and we're not able to clean it. That is going to spill in disease. So we need to keep that balance up. Now, I told you already, absolutely, the foundation of health starts with nutrient-dense foods. Please mute yourself. So you need to eat nutrient-dense food, and those blocks, the building blocks like healthy proteins, healthy carbohydrates, healthy fats, absolutely. Not only it keeps us nourished, but it also builds our cells. It basically sustains us. However, the synergy of the situation is you need to have the cellular cleansing apparatus up and running, and up and running in a very, very great manner. Please mute yourself because it's going to interrupt my presentation. Now, so if we eat right, it's like a garbage can. So better analogy, so our cell, let's say, is a plastic bag. And you fill that plastic bag with scrapes or peels of amazing fruits and vegetables, or pieces of, high-end steak and stuff, and you don't clean it up. It's getting overflown, and then you don't clean it up. It will stink. And then you don't clean it up. It will mold. And then you don't clean it up. It's going to burst. And then you don't clean it up. Welcome to disease. So we need to work on what is called NRF2 activation. And you already see the difference. So direct antioxidants, 1 per 1. And when we activate, and I will explain what is NRF2 further, the activation of our little cellular vacuum cleaners, they rev up when they're normal and healthy, cleaning up over 1 million free radicals per second, every second, upregulating everything else. The excitement of, see guys, LifeVantage brings categories. And LifeVantage brings essential categories. To me, the foundation of health starts with cellular cleanliness. And we have an NRF2 activator, knowing that NRF2 is a master regulator of detoxification, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and other cellular mechanisms. That's it. So now, here comes from my search engine, from my research. NRF2 is an inducer of cytoprotective genes, meaning genes that protect cell. And NRF2 is advantageous for our longevity. Of course, because we are aging, because we are getting dirty, and we're getting dirty, and we're getting older. So it is a vicious circle. Now, look at this, why NRF2 is so amazing. Because one of the last NRF2 reviews papers said that NRF2 is that single hit that targets over 250 survivor genes. It's one hit. So we're turning on one protein that is going to sprout onto so many genes that is going to stimulate multi-functionality of the cell, multi-targeted of cytoprotective effects. So now, as I told you, NRF2 regulates an expression of over 200 genes. Now, look at this. And we're going to go through NRF2 and diseases, because I'm not talking, as a product, we don't treat, cure, mitigate disease. I'm doing science. I'm talking about that protein, that dysfunctionality. So we need to upregulate it, because numerous pathologies, including chronic diseases of the lung and the liver, autoimmune processes, neurodegenerative processes, metabolic syndrome, and obviously cancer. That is my main interest. And this is a beautiful slide to give you the idea why it is so important. NRF2 downregulation. So, the macular degeneration, the cornea, lung diseases, decrease in NRF2, skin, and we know that there are 3 studies that were done on NRF2 activator and different kinds of, 3 kinds of skin cancers. You can also notice that whatever I quote from the papers, they're only recent publications of 2018 or recent 2019. Now, look at this. We, as conventional doctors, we do absolutely great with acute inflammation. We can do cuts, bruises, acute appendicitis, acute hernia. We can deal with this. Where we're failing is the chronicities. And that is why, because we don't get to the root cause of those chronic diseases, which is cellular garbage or oxidative stress. That is so important. That's why it is so important to upregulate NRF2. This is I just introduced this slide. This is about heart. So you see, a lot of this gets to bad thing. That is why, in order for us to protect our heart, guess what we need to do? We need to upregulate that NRF2 protein. This is the future. Why am I so excited about LifeVantage, what LifeVantage brings as a conventional doctor? Because I honestly believe NRF2 is the future of medicine. Look how many drugs are in the process with all these diseases. These drugs are in clinical trials, and some of them are already FDA approved. I don't know about you. As a conventional doctor, I do not like to take drugs because every drug has a side effect. However, the foods, the superfoods, the combination of bacopa, ashwagandha, milk thistle, green tea, and turmeric, how can it damage us? How can it have a side effect? I don't think so. Now, this is my interest. Of course, I do a lot of reading, and hopefully I just submitted ethics proposal for 3 research project on NRF2 activation in breast cancer. There are why NRF2 is so critically important. Why the health and upregulation of NRF2 is so critically important, because we can divide it into 2 categories. The cancers are divided in terms of NRF2, divided into 2 categories. One category of cancers are directly caused by oxidative stress, where NRF2 was downregulated and did not clean the cells. The second category of cancers are actually sneaky. What they did, they're so smart that they acquired their own NRF2, which is abnormal, which is pathological, which is diseased, but it's abnormal, and that NRF2 protects the cancer cells. That NRF2 in cancer cells it is already not regulated. It can be regulated by some drugs, but it cannot be regulated by health, but by for example, natural NRF2 activators. However, what can be regulated by natural NRF2 activators is the normal cells, the immune system to boost it, and the environment of the cancer. Cancer feeds from its environment. So the cancer feeds from the bad environment. In order to improve that environment, let's stimulate our ways, the natural ways. Let's stimulate NRF2 to make this microenvironment healthy, clean of oxidative stress, which is going to starve the cancer cells. Hopefully I make sense, and hopefully it's clear. Mary, is it clear? Nod on me. Good, thank you, Mary. So this is basically what I told you. This is a little loaded slide. Now, these slides, now we're going to go into NRF2 and aging. These slides I acquired from the second NRF2 conference in the world, which was held in Madrid, Spain in April 2018. As you see, age leads to oxidative stress and leads to memory loss, mood, movement dysfunction, and neurodegenerative disorders. But what causes, and then see, the new concept is now we can call it inflammaging. So we need to deal with aging and chronic inflammation. And the same thing, we need to turn on NRF2. And the story. So this is about, now we need to think of neurodegenerative disorders. What are the neurodegenerative disorders? For example, Parkinson's disease, Huntington disease, Alzheimer's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease or ALS, multiple sclerosis, different types of dementia. We can lump into this autistic spectrum disorder, different movement disorders like shakiness, like tremors. All of them are now they're called neuroinflammatory conditions. Neuroinflammation. Well, guess what causes neuroinflammation? Oxidative stress. This is the slide about Alzheimer's disease, oxidative stress leading to neuroinflammation, leading to Alzheimer's plaques. Now, oxidative stress and downregulation of NRF2 is associated with epilepsy. So why don't we upregulate NRF2? Yes, we do have a few studies on multiple sclerosis and NRF2 activators, different kinds, and the NRF2 activator, 5 ingredients like NRF2 per tandem, was one of the best and was suggested to be used as a therapeutic modality in remitted relentless multiple sclerosis again and again and again. We don't treat, cure, mitigate disease. And then another study on NRF2 per tandem in preventing of multiple sclerosis in a mouse model. Again, it was, please mute yourself. And that study actually was evolving around upregulating microenvironment, the sort of, the soil around the nerve cells, around the neurons. That microenvironment, that soil is maybe more important than the neurons because it keeps them functional. Now, so from the number one to me is clean the cells. Turn on your NRF2 because your NRF2 is going to turn on your cellular vacuum cleaners like glutathione, like nothing else, like hemoxygenase, like superoxide dismutase, like catalase, and other little vacuum cleaners or huge cellular vacuum cleaners like nothing else, because cellular cell is like ideally is a well-oiled machine. However, When the cell is dirty and the cell is aging, it turns into a rusted bucket or a dirty rusted bucket. So as I said, number one, clean the cells. Number two, cleaning the cells is going to turn on or stimulate or bring to health the little cellular components or compartments. So one of the most important cellular organelles or compartments, I call it a cellular engine, is called mitochondria. So it literally gives us life. Mitochondria literally maintains us living because it provides us, it utilizes oxygen to give us energy and vitality, life. Now, the thing about mitochondria is not only the powerhouse. Mitochondria is the control tower of the cell because mitochondria takes care of our genes. Mitochondria controls our nucleus, our DNA. So if the cell is dirty, NRF2 is not regulated. Glutathione is not up to the snuff. What happens is the mitochondria is in jeopardy because it's not getting proper nourishment and it is not functioning properly. So, and then not only is it becoming dysfunctional, but it also diminishes in numbers, it dies. It is critically important to maintain the number of mitochondria in the cells. Now, think, which cells in which organ do you want to maintain the most mitochondria? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be your little pinky. We're thinking of brain because brain is that most important organ to utilize oxygen and the organ that requires most of energy. Brain is very small, basically, in mass and volume, 1/9 of the body, utilizes over 20% of all the oxygen that we get into the body. So cellular cleanliness and mitochondrial health are absolutely critical for our brain. And dysfunctional mitochondria shows up, for example, like a brain fog. You have a brain fog, your mitochondria is not up to the snuff. So clean the cells, NRF2 upregulation, boost your mitochondria. Cleaning your cells automatically is going to boost your existing mitochondria. However, the thing is, can we make the new mitochondria? Absolutely. We can stimulate our cells to make new mitochondria. This process is called mitochondrial biogenesis. Simply put, making new mites. How do we make new mites? Few things. Hit the gym on a daily basis. Minimize your caloric requirements. However, how many people are going to starve? That is not sustainable. And it is, in fact, when I was in Berlin at the mitochondrial conference, they present us a little video of people who were put on starvation diet. Their mitochondria improved dramatically, but they were incredibly miserable. So this is not sustainable. We need to find the way. So NRF1 activation. NRF1 is another protein. In this case, NRF1 boosts the production of new and healthy mitochondria. The interesting thing is, the new mitochondria actually helps the old one. There is a very nice family communication. Usually, like with our families, the older ones teaches the new ones. Well, actually, with mitochondria, it's the opposite. The new ones, the young ones, the vibrant ones, actually teach the old ones how to remain healthy and vibrant. So we need to clean the cells, boost the old ones, and then stimulate the production of the new ones. Now, we know that mitochondria, dysfunctional mitochondria, is associated with multiple sclerosis given. We know that dysfunctional mitochondria is associated with our immune system. We know that dysfunctional mitochondria is associated with autistic spectrum disorder. In fact, 50 to 80% of kids on autistic spectrum have dysfunctional mitochondria. So you get the idea. This is the paper. We also know that we know that every cancer has a dysfunctional mitochondria. This is one of the latest papers, just to tell you. Sulforaphane is another NRF2 activator, very well used by researchers. Just to show you that autistic, it's not about sulforaphane, don't get me wrong, but it's about autistic spectrum disorder associated with oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, leading to neuroinflammation. That is why what we have in our hands, we need to utilize, we need to teach people, we need to help people. Now, this is just the summary of what I was telling you about mitochondria. Boost NRF2, boost mitochondria, and look how many, how many people you can help, how many lives you can change. These are just summary, these are just big names, but that's what we do. I just love to flash it. So hopefully, I told you the importance of 1-2 punch. This is 1-2 punch. Clean the cells, boost the mitochondria. The thing is, you cannot introduce new mitochondria in a dirty environment. That's just my philosophy. Now, let's go into the body. Let's go into microgut. How important the microgut is, critically important. Now, why microgut is so important? Well, because over 85% of our immune system resides in our gut. Over 90% of serotonin is synthesized in our gut. Our microgut is responsible for metabolism of different vitamin Bs, including B12, calcium metabolism, other minerals. So extremely, extremely important. Let me tell you one thing. I don't want to live in a dirty home. Well, guess what? Probiotics also don't want to live in a dirty home. So you need to clean the gut. How do you clean the gut? Let's start with this. Let's introduce this as a cleaner and then this as a mitochondrial boost, because, again, there is a massive synergistic interaction between probiotics and NRF2 activation and mitochondria. Dysfunctional gut is going to harm the mitochondria, lead to dysfunctional mitochondria. However, healthy mitochondria is going to boost our microgut. And we need to boost our microgut all the time. So I encourage you to eat fermented foods. Kefir, kombucha, fermented vegetables, miso, tempeh, different kinds of fermented food. However, it's not enough. I honestly believe that our microgut needs to be boosted, needs to be stimulated. And we have one of the best probiotics. Now, let me tell you a couple of words about prebiotics. Well, how many of you, and how many I have on the Zoom? Okay, I have over 50 people on the Zoom, and probably all of you had dinner, right? Well, guess what? The probiotics also like to eat. They ain't going to survive starving. So you need to feed probiotics. However, Dunkin' Donuts, Tim Hortons donuts, steaks, even a beautiful roasted salmon or something ain't going to cut it. Probiotics are vegans like me. They are strict vegetarians. They live on fiber. They live on plant-based diet. So, and let me make you a comparison of something. We do not consume enough fiber. In old age, in ancient history, people averaging people were averaging over 100 grams of fiber a day. So American diet, you've got to be lucky to have 10, 15 grams of fiber a day, meaning that you're starving your microgut. You're stagnating your gut and you're starving your microgut. So we need prebiotics. So stay put, guys, because a little birdie threw me sort of, a little note that LifeVantage is coming with prebiotic formulation. Stay put, we need prebiotics. It's an absolute must. Our physique has a little bit of a prebiotic, which is called Wellmune, but Wellmune, most important function of a Wellmune is about immune system. It's a boost of immune system. And that boost of your immune system goes in such a huge synergy with that immune system boost of probiotics that, 70% is an underestimate. I should change my slides to 85% of the immune system. Now, so that's basically the summary, what I was telling you. Clean the gut and then boost the microgut. And Steve, dirty gut or leaky gut, again, leads to multitude of chronic diseases. Now, before I say thank you to you, I want just to introduce this thing. I did not include massive slides on the fish oils or omegas. We were talking cellular health. Guys, you can upregulate NRF2. You can boost your mitochondria. However, if the cellular integrity is not preserved, if a cellular envelope is broken, ruptured, erodes, cracked, fractured, the cell is not going to survive. So fish oils create or gives us those essential fatty acids that are so critically important for cellular integrity. And the cellular integrity is not only important to sustain the cell, but it's also critically important for the conduction of the signal, especially which is important in central nervous system. Fish oils, essential fatty acids are critically important for our brain to convey the proper message. Another thing is why fish oils are important. And now I lost my train of thoughts. It will come back to me. Now, why, let's say, this fish oils as comparing to other fish oils? Because it is clean. Because we know the source. Because we know where it's coming from. We know that it is properly balanced, aka omega-3s, 6 to 1 omega-6s, and then there is an addition of omega-7s, which is very rare, and omega-7s are so important in a diabetic control. It's so important in mental health, and ours also have vitamin D. So that combination, which is called a vitality stack, Vita, you clean the cells, you basically preserve that cellular cleanliness, cellular health. You upregulate cellular engine. You maintain the cellular integrity and you boost your microgut on top of eating right, on top of your mental positivity, on top of your exercise, on top of your water. Guess what? Here comes the choices. Here comes the proper lifestyle. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop sharing the presentation, and we are a lot of us. If you guys have questions, please type the questions. I cannot unmute you because it's going to be very loud, or just unmute one per person and you can ask a question. Thank you very much for being on the Zoom.